This weekend in the Middle East, Syria in particular, reports of more than 1,000 people in northwest Syria in just 2 days were killed. According to extremely disturbing reports, the violence perpetrated by the terrorist group HTS that overthrew the former Assad regime was targeting former groups, minority groups aligned with Assad. Now, interestingly enough, Assad, who was a dictator, he actually protected the Christian minority population. Well, there are reports that dozens and dozens, hundreds of Christians have been killed over the weekend, and the numbers, we're told, may be much higher than what the press is reporting. Here to discuss this, Charmaine Hedding, the president of the Shai Fund. Charmaine has worked for 20 years in the development of this nonprofit sector, focusing on the protection of persecuted minorities in the Middle East and Africa. Charmaine, welcome to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so there were many that said, oh, well, this is great. We got Assad out and we got this more moderate Islamist in. But the guy's a terrorist. HTS, Giuliani, he is, the evidence over the weekend says this is Al-Qaeda, this is ISIS. I mean, they're just randomly killing people they consider to be opposed to them.
I think that the Israeli government on their X feed said it really well. Just because he put on a suit doesn't change who he is. He's a jihadist, and these mass killings that have happened indiscriminately across the coastal plains of Syria prove it.
All right, so give us the latest. I know you are on the ground in the Middle East. You have contacts there. What are we hearing? Because some of the press reports are a bit muddled coming out.
Yeah, I've been talking to people in Syria the entire weekend. And just a few hours ago, I received testimonies on family members that have survived. And basically what they have to say is absolutely horrific, that both HTS and SNA, which are basically two Turkish proxy militias that have taken over Syria, they either walked into these towns where the Christians and Alawites and other religious minorities or components of Syria live and started shooting them from the motorbikes or going into their homes and shooting them. And basically they're civilians, a lot of them, women and children, just because they are Alawites or Christians and they didn't cause trouble, or they might have, been the same religion as the Assad regime, doesn't make everyone necessarily worth being killed. And that's what they're doing. They're just saying, we're going to kill you.
So, Charmaine, is this driven by religion, the fact that they are not Muslims and they're not aligned with the Muslim, now Islamic government?
It's exactly that. They are not aligned with the Sunni interpretation that HDS and SNA have. It's the radical jihadist ideology. SNA is built up mostly from former ISIS terrorists, and HTS, as we know, is Jabhat al-Nusra, which is Al-Qaeda. This is who we're talking about.
Now, as we mentioned, Israel has been tracking this. They've been saying from the start, don't be misled by the fact that they're talking more moderate. They might put on a suit, but these are still terrorists, and the actions of what we saw over the weekend speak very clearly to that.
Yeah, I think Israel came out already as soon as they took over and was very clear and direct that these are jihadi groups, they are terrorists. They haven't proven by any action that they are in any way democratic. In fact, Jalani or al-Shara, who's the head of HDS, has dissolved the constitution. He's made himself a dictator. He was supposed to put in a new interim constitution on the 1st of March. He's now saying it's delayed. There's no constitution at the moment. There's an interim government that has got jihadis from Idlib inside of it, as well as foreign fighters that are loyal to HDS. This is a scary scenario for Israel. It's a jihadi group on our border, and Israel cannot afford to let them anywhere near our civilian population, because they will do the same thing as what they've done on the coastal plains.
Well, and this is why from the start, IDF forces were destroying the stockpiles of weapons that Syria had in store. In fact, in my meeting last week with the Prime Minister, he said, look, Christians are being killed. They're being targeted in Syria. We're trying to protect them. In fact, Israel has created some buffer zone. They're protecting some of the Druze communities right there on the border. And so they understand that they're at risk, but they're also willing to protect Christians. And I think the United States can be very clear about this, that we will hold the HTS responsible for anything that happens to these minority communities there in Syria.
Exactly. And I was really happy to see Rubio's statement that he made on it. He was really clear. He stated exactly that we should be supporting the religious minorities and protecting them, and that we shouldn't give these jihadis a pass. And this is exactly what Israel has been saying. So my hope is that we will be able to work together in order to protect them, and definitely to support the areas like in the southern area close to Israel, and like in the northeast Syria, which is the Democratic Autonomous Administration that's run by the SDF, which is where our coalition forces, American coalition forces, are situated. We'll be able to work together to block this Turkish terrorist-backed expansion by HTS and SNA.
Yeah, we don't have time to go into it, but I think it's very important for everyone to understand that Turkey is backing this. This is advanced by Turkey, and I know that Turkey is smuggling weapons even into Judea and Samaria. They're doing everything they can, and this is a NATO quote-unquote ally. The United States needs to speak very clearly to that. But Charmaine, very quickly, 30 seconds left. How can folks find out more about your ministry and your help of the persecuted?
Yeah, we're directly involved giving assistance on the ground in Syria right now as we speak with some of these survivors. We also have ongoing projects that are working in the areas that are more democratic, and they can join us at theshaifund.org.
All right, we'll encourage folks to check that out and be supportive of what you're doing. Charmaine, thanks for being with us.